Good morning and welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morse. Another beautiful day out here in Phoenix, Arizona. The weather's getting warmer. I think we're going to hit 85 today, and that's crazy at the beginning of February. It's unexpected, but it's perfect for us for working outside. Some of the jobs we're on, it makes it easier on the guys. But one thing we got to pay attention to is making sure our guys are hydrated, making sure we're getting the water jugs out there with water and ice for them. It's very crucial to their safety, to be hydrated out there and not have any issues. And it's starting earlier than we expected. But, today I'd like to talk a little bit about own it. That's been kind of my theme this week for our company in our morning. We do a morning What's Your Win, like a Zoom, but we do it every morning at 9 o'clock. It's for anybody in the company that wants to jump on and we talk about what your win was from the day before. But when we start this, I read a message. I kind of put something together, and each week it kind of has a theme to it. So this week's theme is own it. Own what you're doing. Own up to what you have on a job. Stop making excuses. Man, it's amazing. Some of these guys out there, it's you ask them a question, something didn't go right, and they'll give me 10 different excuses within 30 seconds. And it's like, stop. You messed up. Here's what happened. Let's just own it, and let's figure out how to fix it. Embrace the problem. Embrace what's going on. There's nothing I hate worse than someone that's just, they've got an excuse for everything, or they blame everybody else for their problems. Own your own problems. Own your own situations. And I promise you, if you listen to this podcast and after this, I want you to start paying attention to the way people are talking or when there's situations. You will start to see how many people make an excuse for everything. And we got to stop doing that. We got to own our shit. We got to own our failures. We got to own up to our situations. And that's how we become better. That's how we become more productive. If I make a mistake, I'm going to own it. Man, if I had $1 for every mistake I made, every failure since I started this business, I'd have $1 million just in that. And I've learned from each one. But the object is to own what you're doing, own up to it, embrace it, and move on and grow from that. That's how we grow. If everything's perfect, everything goes the right way, you're never learning, you're never growing. We grow and we learn from our mistakes, our failures. Not that I enjoy failures, not that I enjoy mistakes, not that I really want them, but I think it's a necessity in life that we need that in our life. Last week I talked about chaos. It's not that it's chaos in your life. It's a problem that needs to be addressed. It's a problem that needs to be fixed, and we need to own up to it. If you take ownership of your situation, the other thing that's going to happen is people around you will start respecting you a little bit more. They're going to say, oh man, he made a mistake. He owned his stuff. He didn't kind of brush it under the rug or walk away from it. He took ownership. He took responsibility of this situation, and he's moving forward. That, to me, is one of the best employees I could ever ask for. Somebody that has a problem, they own it, and they fix it. Or they come to me or one of the superintendents and say, hey, I had a problem. I made a mistake. How do I fix this? I'm not sure what to do next. Man, that is huge. Those are the best employees out there, because that tells me this is somebody that's willing to learn, willing to grow, and they embrace their mistakes, they embrace their failures, and they own up to it. And if a guy at work doesn't own up to his problems, his mistakes and everything, what's he doing in his personal life? What's happening in his personal life when something goes wrong? Maybe it's a situation where it's a marriage or it's a relationship and something happens and, oh, it's her fault or his fault. And, oh, I didn't create this situation. It just is what it is. You can't go through life like that. You have to start owning your mistakes, own your problems. If I get that there's accidents out there, it's somebody comes in and said, man, John, I had an accident. I spilled a bucket of paint. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Well, of course you didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. But what can you learn from this? I remember many years ago when I was painting back in the Chicago area, and I was working for a residential company, and I had a 5-gallon bucket. We're painting the outside. We're rolling this wood on the exterior of the house, and there was this brick pavers. And here I am. I'm rolling, and I set my pole in the bucket, and I had the pole sticking straight out. But there was only about half a gallon of paint in there. So between the extension pole, which is a 4 that extends to 8, and then you had the roller on there, and there's paint on the roller, and I left it in there, walked away. I no more than took 5 steps away, that bucket tipped over and it spilled all over the brick pavers. Man, did I learn a lesson from that. I learned that I did something wrong. How do I address this the next time? And this is something I've continued over the years to teach people that work for me not to make the same mistake. And that mistake is unscrew the roller, set the roller down, leave the roller handle and the roller nap in the bucket, keep it wet with paint, and just have it sitting on a 5-gallon grid. That is the best thing to do. And always make sure it's off to the side, or it's on top of a drop cloth, or it's over in the rocks outside. Or if you're inside, make sure it's on a drop cloth, or you've got it on plastic. So if something does happen, you're going to catch that. One thing I always look at, and everybody that works for me knows this, when I walk a job, the first thing I look at is the floors. I'm always looking at the floors. I'm looking for spills, drips. It's interesting how many guys or girls will start rolling. They'll do a ceiling and they've got half the room dropped off, but as they're rolling, they keep going. And next thing you know, they're off the drop cloth and they're over carpet, tile, finished flooring. And now you're making splatters and a mess. And typically the ceilings are going to flat paint. Flat paint splatters more than a eggshell or a semi-gloss. And so there's going to be a mistake. There's going to be a problem. And the best way to clean that up is the second it happens, get in there and clean it up. Don't wait for it to dry to clean it up, because then it's going to be twice as hard to fix it. And there's nothing I like better than somebody makes a mistake and they fix it right then and there. I can't stand when people make a mistake and they're like, I'll leave it. We'll get to it later. No, fix it right then and there. There's nothing worse than leaving it and letting it fester, and especially on the jobs we're on. We're on these bigger commercial jobs, industrial jobs, and if we do that, by the time you're at the end of the job, if I got 6 guys on the job and everybody's making them, and we're there for 3 months, and let's say each guy makes a mistake, 1 mistake each week, that means by the end of that job, I've got all these mistakes we got to fix. And now I'm spending all these hours to go back in there and fix the mistakes or clean up the drips that could have been addressed on day 1 when it happened. The other issue I have with that is now we've got the general contractor with the superintendent out there. They're walking a job. They see this all the time as they're walking out and keep looking at it. And then it just builds up and builds up. And then we look like we don't know what we're doing. To me, that's unacceptable. I want to make sure we fix what we've got right then and there. I remember when I was doing residential painting, one thing I always believed in, if I fix the problem right then and there, if I fix the mistake, or the people working with me would point out, hey, John, you missed this, or hey, John, this happened. And it's funny. Some guys want to point out what the boss missed because it makes them feel good. Oh, you made a mistake. That's okay. I want my guys to point out my mistakes. Because at the end of the job, if we fix everything that we're doing, by the time we're done with this job and we walk it with the homeowner or whoever's paying us, at that point, it looks like, oh my God, this job's perfect. You guys did everything right. It doesn't matter what happened through the process. We look like the best painters in the world. If you want to look like the best employee, the best worker out there, and you make a mistake, fix it right then and there before anybody sees it. You will shine more than anybody else. You're going to grow faster in the company. You're going to move up faster in the company because you owned what you're doing. You fixed the problem right then and there before anybody saw it, or maybe somebody saw it, but they saw you fix it. That's the guy I want on my jobs. That's the person that I want working with me that's going to own everything he does. And it is shocking how many people in this world now I mean, you see it every day. Every day I go out there. Nobody owns what they're doing. Nobody takes care of everything to the fullest of what they're doing. Perfect example, I'm at the grocery store. I'm coming out. I push my cart. I walk it all the way back to the cart rack and put it in there and make sure it's in there where it's not going to roll out. How many times have I seen people, as soon as they get their groceries loaded up, they just push it up. They push it up against the car stop, that little concrete bumper, and leave it there. Now it's made an issue for the next person. Now they can't pull in and park. So they got to get out, move it. Or you got the cart cleanup guys that are catching all the carts and putting them back in the store. But it's simple stuff. It's the smallest stuff that's going to make a difference. Own it, complete it, do exactly what is necessary and what's needed from you. I can tell when somebody cares about what they're doing overall. Simple thing is, if they're walking and they see a piece of trash, they pick it up and they put it in a garbage can. That says ownership. That's somebody that wants to leave something better than when they found it. When we're doing a residential house, if we go there and we pressure wash the house and we take our own hoses, everything, but if the homeowner has a hose already hooked up to the house and we use it and it's all spread out and it's not rolled up properly, At the end of the job, we make sure that hose is wrapped up perfect. It looks clean. We're going to leave this place better than we found it. That's owning it. That's taking responsibility for what you're doing. You have to own everything around you. Own up to it, fix it, clean it up, whatever it takes. Be that person that's going to go the extra mile. That's part of improving your life, improving your work situation. But it doesn't just happen at work. It's got to happen in your personal life too. Everything you do needs to emulate perfection. It has to emulate ownership of everything that you're doing. Those are the people that are going to advance better. Those are the people that are going to get the next raise. They're going to get promoted in the business, or even in their personal life. You will start to see the changes happening. It's interesting. I talk about this all the time, and it's interesting the negative comments I get when I drop these shorts out there on social media and the different platforms. And I talk about different things about being a better employee. And there's so many people out there that leave a negative comment. Well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not getting paid for it. You are the people I'm talking to right now. You are the one that needs to hear this the most. And you need to start thinking about this. Stop what you're doing, all this negative bull crap that you're going through, and start owning everything. You're the one blaming everybody else. You're the one blaming, I don't get a raise because I'm not the one sucking up to the boss. No, you're the one that's negative at work. You're the one that's not owning up to what you're supposed to be doing. It's time to stop and own up to what you're doing. There is so much negativity out there. There's so much, everybody thinks the world's coming to the end. And you know, we got to stop listening to the media, the politicians out there. They're trying to divide us. If we just focus on our lives and being a better person and bettering our surroundings around us and owning up to what we need to do. Own your job, own your home, own everything you're doing. Make it look, my house, my yard, I want it to look like the cleanest, best trimmed yard on the block. I'm going to own that. I'm going to make sure it's done. And if I don't have time to do my yard work, which I enjoy doing once every couple months, then I'm hiring somebody that's going to take care of it. And I tell them exactly how I want it done, and I want my yard to look better than everybody else's. But at the same time, he's going to charge me a certain fee. I'm going to give him a tip because I know he's going to do it right. And I want him to appreciate that. And I want him to know that, hey, I appreciate you fixing my yard. You did it as if you own this. That's impressive. Here's a little extra money for you. I guarantee you the next time he comes, he's going to do the exact same job, if not better, and I'm going to give him another tip. That's part of ownership. That's part of growth in everything that you do. You can learn to help other people around you own up to it. And that's a perfect example of how I'm helping my landscaper basically take ownership of my yard and his job that he's doing. That's his signature on there. And then I'm going to ask him for some business cards in case my neighbors come by and they want their yard done and want to know who did it. I want to make sure I pass his name and number on. That's ownership. When we're painting a project, I want to make sure it looks better than anybody else's job. I want to make sure we've got the best job on there. Our lines are clean, crisp. We're doing it better than anybody else. I love when I get a call from a general contractor and they're like, hey, I know you bid this job, but we hired somebody else and they weren't very good, or we had to kick them off the job. Can you come in and we need you to clean up, but it's partially done right now. So if we can renegotiate the pricing. My answer right away is, well, I might have to clean up everything they did. So my pricing's staying the same. Or I need to go walk the job and reevaluate it. But typically, we're going to keep it the same because we're coming in and we're cleaning up someone else's mess. We're going to own this. I own what they already painted. That means I've got to take over. I've got to clean it till the end of the job. I got to make sure that's perfection. So no, our price is not going to change. Here's where we're at. Now, if you decide not to pay the other contractor because he walked off the job or he reneged on his contract of what he was supposed to do, then that's one thing. But for us, we're going to go in. We're going in at full price again. We're taking over. We own that. We have to. It's like when we're painting a job right now, and it's a retail store. It's a huge store. We're going in, and yesterday, we're supposed to be following the drywall guys. We're going to prime and paint. We got the grid guys coming behind us. Well, yesterday, all of a sudden, they came up to us, the superintendent on the job site, and told my crew that, hey, I need you guys to work overtime today. I need you to get ahead because the grid guys are coming behind you. Well, the problem with that is the drywall's not sanded in front of us. We can't prime and paint that. It's not ready. And we specifically said this to the superintendent. You know what his response was? Well, just go ahead and do it, and we'll back charge them later to repaint it if we have to. Are you kidding me? That's not how we do work. You're costing more money. You're creating more problems. Well, let's push the drywall guys to get ahead. Let's pull back the grid guys, and let's make sure everything has a constant flow. If we do it right the first time, we don't have to come back and do anything extra. Yeah, there's always going to be repairs. There's always going to be touch-ups. But now you're creating a situation where you want me to prime and paint this whole wall, and now I'm going to have to come back because they're going to sand it. We're going to have to reprime it. We're going to have to repaint it. You just made twice the amount of work. That's ridiculous. It makes no sense. For me, it's going to be easier to let the drywall guys get ahead, let the grid guys go in. We'll just have to cut in the top and paint it and make it look right. But I would rather do that, know that it's done right, and have a one and done, and not have to come back and take care of someone else's mess. Because once I paint that drywall, doesn't matter what they say, and this superintendent might say it, I'm going to tell them, hey, I need an email. I need something in writing stating that you're going to do that. Because if I don't, at the end of that job, they're going to come back and tell me, you own this. You got to repaint this. You shouldn't have painted. Well, your superintendent told us to do it. The GC is going to say, well, you shouldn't have listened to him. So we have to take ownership of everything we're doing. We're going to make sure it's done right. We're not going to spin our wheels on a job. We're not going to do useless work if it's just going to come back to bite us. That's unnecessary, unacceptable. We can't do that. And this goes for any trade out there. It's surprising how many general contractors have superintendents working on their jobs that they don't have a clue what they're doing. And I'm not going to badmouth any GCs out there by name or anything, but I'm telling you, there's a lot. And I get that the problem is they're shorthanded. Guys are getting promoted that don't have all the experience. Now, the one job I'm talking about, man, the superintendent on there, he's on point on safety. I mean, he's making sure everybody has safety. I mean, he doesn't want people having their phones on the job and pulled out. You got to wear your safety glasses and hard hats and safety vest. And you got to be harnessed, whether you're in a scissor lift or a boom. It's just protocol out there. But man, his coordination on his job is the worst. It's brutal. It's going to end up costing us money. We're going to spend extra hours on that are unnecessary. So now I have to evaluate this and figure out, how are we going to make this up? How are we going to make this right? How do we get in here and do our job and do it efficiently? Even if it means letting other trades get ahead of us and we got to go a little bit slower, but get it done right so we don't have to come back and repaint everything. That makes more sense to me. And I'm noticing more and more that this is happening on the job sites out there. I'm noticing that. I think the problem is it just people are leveling up in positions within companies, or going from one company to the next and leveling up because there's a need for it. There's a need for these people in these positions, but they're not qualified. They don't know what they're doing. If you have somebody and I've seen it time and time before. I mean, there's a superintendent on a job site that we were doing about 6 months ago, and it was a small new build for a restaurant, and his background was electric. He was an electrician, and this guy came from an electric company, can read plans, can do something, but he does not have a clue how to run this job. And everything is backwards, and trades are on top of each other. And the worst about some of these guys out there is they're going to tell you, hey, yeah, we need more manpower out here to get it done. You've got a 5,000 square foot restaurant, and you've got trades upon trades upon trades, and you're saying, hey, I need more manpower to get this done. Sometimes having more manpower isn't the key to it. It's let's stop, let's evaluate this, let's each trade own what they're doing. And what we're going to do out there is we're going to start talking with the other trades. We're going to start talking with the other subcontractors on the job site and coordinate with them aside from a superintendent when we see those situations. We want to be the most efficient on there, and I guarantee you all the other trades do too. So we're going to work hand in hand with them and build a relationship and work together. We're not going to get pissed off at other trades and, start butting heads. That's the worst. And I see that time and time again on these jobs where different trades are butting heads with each other. We both have to work in this room or in this job site. We have to get along. We have to coordinate. Yeah, the superintendent, the GC, their coordination, their schedule is so screwy sometimes that we have to take control of it ourselves. We have to be the game changer to make it work. We're going to own our situation. We're going to own our job and make it work. And when you got other trades willing to do the same thing with you, it's amazing how everything works so much better with each other. And every trade is getting along. People are working together. It's more efficient out there. And we're all going to make money at that point. That's the key to a perfect job site. But it also has to happen in your personal life too. We have to own everything around us. For me and my wife and our household, we know our place. We know what we have to do. I know that I got to go out and pick up the dog poop. That's my job. I take out the trash. There's certain things that I just know that I'm going to do, and I know there's certain things that she's going to do. And we coordinate it and work together, and we try to be as efficient as possible. On the weekend when we're meal prepping for the week and doing our thing, and I'm cooking on the grill or the smoker, and she's doing laundry, and I got trash to take out, and the dog poop needs picked up, and there's different things, and she's got my honey-do list that needs to be done around the house. We're going to coordinate this together. We're going to plan it together and make sure that we're efficient. It's the same on everything that we do, and we're going to own it to the best of our ability. I want my house to look clean and crisp. I want everything to perfection. It's the same on a job site. It's the same situation on a job site. We want it to be clean and crisp and everything to look good, because at the end of the day, that's our company name that's on that job. And that's your name personally if you're part of that crew. You want to step back and say, man, I own this job. I made this look good. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Don't get out there and half-ass it. Don't get out there and just kind of, okay, well, I can only do this and this. And, oh, well, I can't do this, so I'm just going to let it go. No, it doesn't work that way. And communicate what's going on. That's one thing we are very, very huge on within our company is communication. The more communication we have, the better our situations turn out. That means everybody's in alignment on every single job that we're doing. We're connected in the mornings when we do our logistics meeting, and we do it at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, we have a logistics meeting with our superintendents, project managers, and we go over every job, what's happening out there. We coordinate everything going every direction. We try to keep it under 15 minutes, and it's quick. We go through each one. We talk about what was done yesterday, what's being done today, and everybody's a part of this. And you might ask, well, why do you have everybody in there if it's not their job? Because what happens if somebody doesn't show up or we have to make a change? Now this next person can step in and know exactly what's going on that job. We have to be in alignment. That's part of the communication. I want everybody to be on the same page. They have to know what's going on every job, every place at all times. That's how we're efficient. That's ownership. That's owning everything that we do. Whether you're the painter in the field, the crew leader, the working superintendent, the project manager, or the estimator, we all know everything on every job out there. We have to. We're efficient, and we own it all. And that's how we run as a company. You know, when I started this company, I didn't know how big this was going to get. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted to start my own company. We're doing mostly residential, and as we grew into commercial, man, we just keep getting bigger and bigger. There's processes that have to be put in place. And people have to own what they're doing. If you're in a position, you're an estimator, you have to own that bid. You have to make sure that you did the takeoff for every single item. One thing we do as a company, if an estimator bid a job and we land it, we don't sign a contract right away. We stop. We send it back to estimating, and then another estimator does another takeoff off of it, just to make sure that nothing was missed. And then after that, it goes to the senior project manager. He then he looks over the takeoff, makes sure everything was done right. He reads through all the details, all the keynotes, and then he goes over the contract to make sure that everything we have on that job is in the contract and to make sure that something wasn't slipped in on the contract. You'd be surprised at how many general contractors just copy and paste these contracts. It's ridiculous. And so we have to go through there to make sure that there's things in there. We were doing a restaurant one time and for one company, and turns out they had the name of a different company in there, and there was structural steel they wanted painted, but it wasn't even part of the job. So we catch those things. We redline it. We send it back and we correct it. Because once we sign that contract, we own it. I've had one sentence in a contract talked about structural steel plates on a job, and we signed it. We owned it. And it cost us about $5,000 to take care of that. That was a costly mistake. But at the end of the day, we did what we did. We signed the contract. We now own that situation. We own the fact that we have to paint that. That's on us. And that's called real ownership. If you make a mistake, own up to it. Yeah, we made the mistake on that, but we're going to own it. We're going to paint it. We're going to fix it, and we're going to learn from it. Embrace your failures. Own everything that you do. I promise you'll become a better person. You know, it's interesting from the beginning of this business when I started to now, and how we've grown and how we've learned. I've made a lot of mistakes. but I've owned every single one. And I'm going to continue to own them, and I'm going to continue to become better because of this. What are you doing in your life right now that you're not taking real ownership of, that you need to reevaluate and look at it and say, hey, man, maybe John's right. Maybe I need to reevaluate this and look at my personal life or my work life. I need to take more ownership of what I'm doing. I need to become a better person at work. This is what I need to do. Stop complaining about everything else in there and blaming everybody else. Everybody's got an excuse. I'm tired of them. I don't need it. Just own it. That shows growth and leadership, and that you're going to be a person to move up in my company. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you joining me. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Stay hungry.